Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Right, so as promised to a work colleague of mine, I said I'd do this video, and it just so has happened when I've come to check on Duse tonight. Unfortunately, yes, they eat, and there's always these lovely videos of feeding snakes and how amazing it is and terrifying at the same time. But unfortunately, what goes in does come out. So follow me on this next video, and yeah, if you're eating anything, maybe stop and we'll get to it. So what's it like owning a snake? Well, it can be amazing. There's a lot of work to it. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to provide them with the right sort of setup, research the animal, all the bits and pieces that go with it. There is a fair bit. Know how to handle them, obviously know how to feed them. Unfortunately, as with all animals, you have to muck them out. And with large snakes, they produce a lot of waste. Thankfully, it's only every couple of weeks. So Duse ate 2 weeks ago, and that is what he's produced, which was pretty much a mass of fur and bits. But yeah, anyway, let's get my poo bags out and we'll remove that. Thank God videos. Thank God you can't smell what I'm about to do. All right, let's see what we've got in here. There we go. Just checking where he's at before I go into his viv. So he's clearly looking into space. Right, I've removed the wedges on the glass. Let's slide this back. And hold my breath. Good grief. Ugh, that's a handful. Right, we removed the worst of it. Oh, there's a big lump of urite. So white chalky mass, which is his urine. Just throw that in the bag. And that's it. Not too bad. Another quick check, make sure he ain't suddenly coming down to say hello. No, his tail's there, but good. Always keep an eye on him. Thanks, Duse. Lovely. And while I'm here, I'm going to change his water. Hasn't done anything in his water, thank goodness. So just a quick clean out of that, as it's a bit mucky. With the power of YouTube, it goes from dirty to voila. Nice clean water bowl. Scrubbed it out with a brush and then pop some fresh water in there. It's obviously pretty cold at the moment, but that'll soon warm up and never seems to bother him. I think he waits for it to warm up before he goes fully in there, but normally I find him in that in the morning. He seems to love a fresh water. Right, let's get this back together. So if you ever wondered how much waste does a snake make, or particularly a boa, that is one poop after a couple of weeks, and he's produced all that. It's not the same every time. Sometimes there's less, sometimes there's more, but that is a good amount there. As I said, it's almost like cleaning up after a large dog. But they do eat large food items, and they eat a whole lot. So yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a shock that they do produce a lot of waste. But quite a few different species of snakes poop in different ways. I would say boas, from my experience, are pretty clean. Other snakes tend to shoot it everywhere. Anyway, enough talking about that. All right, that's his water back in there and him locked up. And clearly, he wanted to come down to say hello. So he has appeared. I ain't been out here that long. And I'll be honest, I didn't even notice him there when I was just locking up the glass. I just happened to look left, and then he's appeared rapidly because he was right at the top of the viv. So just proves they're an ambush predator for a reason, and they can creep up on you. Stealthy. Well, I'm sure he is feeling much better after passing all that. His tail, it was funny enough, his tail was looking quite fat leading up, sorry, the end of his body leading up to his vent before his tail was looking quite chunky. And I know he's been packing out a little bit, putting on a bit of weight recently, but he's cleared all that. His tail is now looking far more in line as it all comes down there. So he clearly had a fair bit of waste to get rid of, as I've got a bag full down there. So he got fed 2 weeks ago and won't get fed now for a couple of weeks. As I said, he gets fed every 4 to 5 weeks, depending on size of food item. But now, I'm going to do it because it's too cold out here, is a prime time to handle. Maybe not today because he's just produced a load of waste. Maybe leave him a day or two just to settle down. But you're not going to have any risk of getting pooped on when your snake has actually produced that mass of waste. So I always like to say this is like the golden window. Now, until I feed him again, I could take him out without the risk of getting pooped on, which and I'm sure a lot of you would rather avoid, and I have had it. I've had snakes fill my lap up with waste, and it's an experience you do once. So, yeah, I always generally will feed him, wait for him to go to the loo, and then once that's done, I've got my handling window, which is normally a couple of weeks. And then when he's fed again, then he doesn't get handled really. Obviously for the first week, he's digesting the food. And then for the second week, you never quite know when he might produce some waste. So, yeah, I prefer, probably not as bad with smaller snakes. The thing is, they're not going to produce as much waste. But yeah, I always tend to just leave them alone, let them do their digesting for the first week. Then leave them for that second week in case of a poop accident. And then once they've gone to the toilet, you've got that third, fourth, fifth week, that time before the next feed, where it's a lot safer to handle. I'm surely a lot more comfortable for the snake not being handled with a rodent inside it. You're not going to risk regurgitation, which could happen. And most importantly, you're not going to risk getting pooped on. Right, we'll leave them to it. As always, guys, thanks very much for watching. So the less glamorous side of keeping reptiles, particularly snakes, that produce a lot of waste. Anyway, I'm going to go and get rid of this, wrap him back up, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care. Bye for now.